And in the bottom left side of the map to start this game off, it's going to be the blue Terran player, Speak Now, better known as ByuN.
In the top right, as the orange Terran, it's Journey.
And of course, just taking a moment to remind you guys that, again, 3 hours from now, we will be casting a very unconventional tournament. It'll be an arcade tournament, Legacy of the Void styles Zealot Hockey. It's about $3,000 that Blizzard has put into it, and we've had a couple of shows, if you missed them, they're up on YouTube, where we've been learning Zealot Hockey over the last month, playing a little bit, casting a little bit, and today will definitely be a very interesting show of things. And I will say this much. If you're the average StarCraft viewer and you've never played the arcade, and it's just not your thing, I would still recommend at least checking out these games, because Zealot Hockey is weirdly fun. I really didn't expect to like it as much as we did.
Yeah, I told some of my students to just like play because they were having some like downtime, right? And not everyone can play on Battle.net because, well, not everyone can play 1v1 comfortably because the school internet sucks. I know, perfect for a StarCraft 2 class, right? So they just play Zealot Hockey. And
nice.
Some of them did, and they were like, "This is actually really fun." And I was like telling them the tips, tricks. It felt so cool.
Maybe that's why NYU failed so hard in the CSL. They all got
the internet.
No, well, not like just the internet, but they all told each other about Zealot Hockey. Like, oh, right, we're supposed to be practicing Archon for CSL, but instead we played Zealot Hockey.
Teaches you how to spam, I guess. Like, keep that APM up with the X button, you know? If you haven't played Zealot Hockey, you don't know what sound is.
That is actually a great noise for, like, the skates on the ice. Like, okay, so for another TvT opening up on Dusk Towers, we have Journey looking like he's heading towards potentially Banshees. I don't know why I struggled with saying that. For ByuN's sake, maybe head to the same direction. I mean, Banshees are his forte, but one of the really nice things is either player could just also go for Cyclone and be pretty set for the early game.
Right. ByuN does, you know, 50-50 on the Banshee or the Cyclone. Super defensive or aggressive Banshee and then aggressive tank push. But lately it seems he's been more leaning towards the defensive build. Oh, a tank drop. Oh, of what type is the question? Is it a tank drop like it's Siege, or is it a tank push, like put two tanks in a medevac and get across the map quicker?
So the reason I don't like this coming out of Journey is because, okay, well, we don't have a Cyclone yet. One Cyclone actually wrecks one tank early on. One Cyclone stops medevacs, and one Cyclone stops Banshees. I mean, if ByuN was really scared and not going aggressive himself, because he is going for like a Widowmine drop set up here, he would actually be fine. Again, Liberator even gets shut down by Cyclone. It's kind of ridiculous how good those things are.
Yeah, that's super good. But he's going for a little bit of harassment instead of going for like the... Basically, it usually is 50-50 Banshee or the Cyclone defensive opener, but this time going for something a little bit different. He's going to go for a drop, and that will mean that, you know, potentially, coincidentally, his entire army could be out of position, thinking that he's, you know, A-okay to go across the field as long as Banshees are covered with missile turrets, which he's putting up now. That's not what Journey is doing. Oh, God. Oh no. That timing. Into the natural, Journey goes with a siege tank, just a single one, and you know the rest of the units are kind of like one of each, like grab bag of units.
Well, I mean, you don't know. That siege tank might have a girlfriend.
He might be a duo instead of a single. I get it. But anyways, ByuN is already like halfway across the field, so he's not gonna bother returning home. It really isn't that scary of an army because it doesn't have the power to kill a lot quickly.
This could be a bit of a problem. Liberator does get sieged up. Of course, we learned recently this amount of Marines will just barely cover it. Some of them even outside range of the Liberator, so this won't get too bad. There's that Cyclone we talked about earlier as well. Widowmine doesn't go off on too much, but... Oh, the Cyclone can't go down like this.
Gets two-shot by a tank.
So the picking off the medevac means you can deal with this just by getting into the dead zone of that tank as well. Viking could land.
That's where the Reaper's trying to help out.
You know, other side of the map looks like the medevac got picked off, or I'm not sure what happened. The Cyclone must have killed it. Yeah, it's got a kill on it. So ByuN's drop doesn't get too much done. And instead, just takes several Marine losses. Now, there was a comment made earlier in chat in, I think it was like game number 1, at the result of that quick GG, where if you fall behind in TvT, it's basically all over. And I would say you couldn't be more wrong about that because this is that one matchup where you can play from behind. And we've actually seen through casting a week's worth of TvTs in a TvT-only tournament that comebacks are very real in this matchup. ByuN is without question behind after an attack like that, But I still think he's in this game. I don't think that was such devastating damage, and I don't think he's in trouble.
He still had the faster second command center, and stalling out that one just for a couple of seconds really helped. So he's really not that far behind on economy. He's getting further behind as Journey starts at 3rd TC a little bit faster, but it's not something that like a drop or a good push couldn't make up, and that's what the power of TvT is, that drops can really change the tide of battle, as well as just good tank control, or on the flip side, just good defensive tank positioning can really win you games if you can draw it out for a little longer. And Dust Towers is a map where you can certainly draw out on 3 bases, as 3rd is easy to take.
Do you see this very strange thing that's happening with Journey right now?
Strange thing?
Yeah, there's some.
Oh, the second factory. Yeah, going mech is.
Well, the second factory as well, but.
Oh, 2 ravens. I don't know. I thought it was just a raven moving quickly, I guess.
It's like a Templar. It's got that little trail behind it, like the echo. So these 2 ravens are actually really cool to me for a lot of reasons. One of them is actually completely a waste of gas. There's no question about it. But the factories you brought up, I wasn't even looking. He's going mech, and that's really freaking cool. But the ravens, the reason this is so crazy is because auto turrets do such a stupid amount of damage up front and in bursty amounts instead of lasting like 40 minutes on the battlefield. So these 2 ravens actually have what is strange to say, but a phenomenal amount of harass potential. If they don't have to use anything defensively, if they don't have to put missile turrets or auto turrets down for this drop, the Cyclone draws that back. These will actually be able to go across the map later and slaughter an SCV line. And not with Seeker missiles, but with auto turrets.
This is the other way you come back in a TvT. You hope your opponent goes mech.
Yeah. Well, so mech, let's be honest about this. If it's like a 200 Dream army versus like a 200 Bio army, that's fine. You can actually play that out, but it's getting to that point that's the struggle. And we'll see if Journey can get there or not, because ByuN will be dropping and trying to do the continued harass that we see right now. Auto turrets are going to come down, quickly take out that Widow Mine. We did get a new sub, by the way, Free Soul. Thank you so much.
So it has probably the weakest mid game of any Razor composition right now. Gas is the limiting factor of mech, and that's still true, but it's just, lacking those minerals, lacking that ability to turtle on 3 base for longer than 10 minutes has affected it so greatly. You can't really get a missile turret ring, you can't turtle and get to 200 on 3 base, 4th bases are so hard to take. You try and get them early and then you just don't have enough tanks to cover them. You play against someone like ByuN, who was already damn good against mech at Heart of the Swarm, probably the only guy that was. In Legacy of the Void, you're going to be much worse off. And if you are going to go mech, it should be off of a game that you're in a lead in, but I don't think Journey had that much of a lead.
What were the part 2 set for this?
Are we all on ByuN, you kidding me?
Yeah, 14,000 on ByuN, 5,000 on Journey. So I guess a lot of people lost earlier with Sulky. I don't have part 2 left over to bet, but the I feel like that's a good bet. The spread kind of reflects how I would feel about the matchup. But as you said, like this is something where we saw Marine Lord actually do this in the past. We've seen a couple players. I think actually Journey had before, if not Journey was Reality, shown us mech and actually win a TvT with it. But it's not easy to do. We are still on even footing though, so this isn't like a good position for either player. And if ByuN can finally afford to get those Marauders rocking and rolling like he is, you're gonna start seeing a much better game out of him. Now keep in mind, one of the big things about mech that changed, I just canceled the command center over here. One of the big things about mech that changed, not really ground forces. You're still going to see some Hellbats maybe layered in. I don't think you're going to see as many Hellbat drops through medevacs anymore, but the sky control changed heavily. And a big part of this was because not Vikings were nerfed, not that Liberators were introduced to the game, but more so simply just the fact that armor upgrades are still the same, but weapons were split. You no longer can go battle cruisers and have 3-3 off the bat and just kind of have a grand old time.
Yeah. Well, the Journey is trying to go for double armory upgrade, so that's quite an investment. His main army is now going to try and protect not only his 4th but also his 3rd and somewhat of his main and natural too, because once again the turret rings just don't exist like they did in Heart of the Swarm. It's going to be very difficult for Journey to keep to get a 4th base or to keep all of his bases alive. ByuN is just, he has control over the game, as a bio player should. They should have, faster expansions, faster upgrades, the bigger remax potential. And ByuN knows all of this. He also knows that if he can get one good drop in, that could be the end of the game for Journey.
Well, upgrades finish here very soon for ByuN. I'm not sure if that's the timing he's waiting on. He does have that weapon upgrade going now, but you know, you talk about there's no missile turrets, and dropping certainly becomes potential later on, but there's 8 Vikings something on the field right now, and they're split up in 2 different locations, so sneaking by anything for ByuN, unlikely to happen. And what makes this worse is if it is a head-on engagement, they're going to snipe off those medevacs fairly quick. Tries to pick up one of those Ravens, almost gets it, gets a Viking instead. Not bad, not bad.
Well, the other half of ByuN's army is here now, and while Journey was thinking like, okay, I can take on that army, sure, it's now doubled, so pushing out even just a little bit into a concave is risky for Journey. But ByuN's not going for the direct fights. He's going for multi-pronged attack. 4 medevacs into the main base while the rest of his army still checking on the main attack. Journey is maxed out. I mean, he has no bank, but he's maxed.
That scan was really important too. He was waiting to see when Journey was going to leave. So this is that perfect time to get in there. Boost past that turret, so the medevacs will live for a little bit of time, but Hellbat's now unloading from this. Same problem from these guys as before, where they can just take hits for days. Focus on the missile turrets and pick up and get out of there. Quick moves out of ByuN. He also got the sensor tower focus fired while dancing around. Now starting to push up through the middle of the map. Journey's going to be a little more clueless, but not totally blind to what's going on. Although the drop comes back a little bit earlier than expected.
Now the Vikings are here though, so once his drop is cleaned up, it really will be clean. Oh, okay, or not. Oh, no. The Vikings don't do it.
The tanks were a little bit positioned poorly, so because of this, ByuN immediately loses almost all tank support for this army whatsoever. Sure. In fact, all the tanks are now gone. Point defense turns go down to nullify the Marauder damage. So that's one of the benefits of having those Ravens stick around a lot longer than they normally do. He's going to try and kite this back. Custom Shell is going to be really good for precisely that, but the goal he wants to do is really stop this 4th base. He knew how big of a deal it was to either get on top of production or kill that base. He chose to go for production and unfortunately was not able to touch it.
Yeah. Well, luckily he saved the medevacs, which again I did not expect. The Vikings were almost there. So he loads up once again to go into the main base, which is still not covered by too many missile turrets. Now this is a scary push. They're at even supply, and of course half of ByuN's is in a medevac drop. But Journey is going to retreat. He's going to go back home and try and take care of this.
I wonder if it would have been better to drop one of those medevacs into that 4th base. But he does get on top of the tanks here, on top of the ramp. Coming back, that's a lot of Vikings. So these medevacs are probably not going to get out again. I would be surprised if they did. Boosting on top of this, though, with those Hellbats. Now trying to run for the natural. But this is where if ByuN was pushing the 3rd at the exact same moment, this might not be so bad, but he's not. He's just kind of meandering around the map. And these drops are really not getting a lot done.
Yeah, they're not getting that that opening in the 4th quite as good as ByuN wants. Because of course he killed a lot of tanks and that was nice enough, but needs to get on his own 5th base. You know, it's almost like playing versus Zerg or as Zerg. You want to be up 1 base as the bio player with that fast reproduction.
Those Marauders look like they were gonna go for some action, and the medevac's just that mom. It's like, nope, get back here. Oops.
Yeah. Is that like ByuN's? Oh, it's his factory. I thought maybe he'd put a gas geyser down here and then just didn't go for the gold. Oh, there you go. So the gold now.
Yeah,
go for the gold, ByuN.
I mean, Journey was going to do the same. He's got a barracks that was floating here the whole time, just scouting. This army for ByuN, though, it doesn't have any medevac support. He gets on top of some of these tanks, so that's cool, but without healing, and he's not going to be able to do this anytime soon. That's why we see so many starports coming down. I think he's going to try and match that Viking count, maybe get some Liberators instead. We did see Bunny try and use Liberators for some Marine Lord when he was playing mech, but that just... The splash damage, while good, does not outclass Vikings. Even though the F12 menu says otherwise, don't believe it, guys. Don't believe it's lies.
Of course, the gold base is blocked out by rocks. It's a feature of this map that we rarely get to see, so yes, there's a gold base, but it is hard to get to. ByuN is really starting to probably sweat here as his drops, they're pulling Journey back, but I think it's getting to that point of time where it will no longer pull him back, and if Journey's really allowed to push on top of a base, ByuN's probably going to lose it. When mech is 200-200, it's just as good as it was at Heart of the Swarm.
Yeah, like we talked about, it's production, it's income, it's the Legacy of the Void early game advantage that gives Bio the edge in this matchup. Mech is definitely not dead, but it's hard and very difficult to get to. Ooh, this would be kind of nice if you pick off these Vikings, though.
Pick off whatever you can. Get some medevac. too. I guess it's nice. Scanning the middle of the map, seeing if he can take on that army. It is on siege, but I think it's sieging up now again. Oh,
no.
God.
No. Now with the blue flame helmet's here as well. ByuN's going to throw away so much of his army for this.
Oh, dear. He has a lot of money in the bank, but doesn't he have the production to make up for that?
His sneak attack does get through, though. It's going to draw the army back once again. We'll keep questioning how long this will work for. And it's a little bit longer, by the looks of it. Oh my God, that medevac, are you serious?
He does need it, like, he can see, like, he needs these seconds that a barely alive medevac is buying him. He had 2,000 minerals, 2,000 gas in the bank, but I'm not sure he was throwing down racks to accommodate. I don't know, it looks like it was, and now he's throwing down starports.
Well, yeah,
his gold base, again, it's only muling. It's not going to have gas, and eventually that might be a problem as he is trying to go into his own Viking war. So many scans, Jesus.
Yeah, so many scans, but this is weird for the Vikings because he didn't go for reactors, and he's producing medevac. Like, I don't know what ByuN's game plan here is.
Oh, he has 5 starports? Did he forget he already built?
No, that's the thing. What? He's not going for reactors. He's building the starports for just production's sake. It sounds silly, but if this is for whatever reason intentional, fine. But this makes no sense to do this.
He's gonna lose his whatever base you want to call that.
Yeah,
6. Wasn't I thought his gold is a 4th?
Well, it's like the 4th base location. That's how I like to think of it, at least. Because otherwise we have to actually count the bases that died. It's gonna be weird to be talking about 12ths.
So these tanks, obviously, they siege up here and they're fine and dandy. Could still save the command center because there's not so many Vikings, and the SCVs could repair it.
You know, one of the big things that tends to happen behind games like this is complacency. You lose some of the Vikings and you don't replace them because you haven't needed to the whole game. I do like that Journey kept his Viking production up to about 10, even adding a Banshee in here. This is what keeps ByuN from being able to fight this. Now, ByuN might just try and base trade this out by the looks of it, but there's a line of tanks waiting for him at home.
Some medevacs.
It's not medevacs, but there's tanks waiting for him. Like, there's no way he pushes into this base. Meanwhile, his production is getting destroyed. I think this is one of the rare times in StarCraft 2 we get to see ByuN lose a game. This is like a shiny Pokemon card right now, guys. Everyone go buy a plastic casing, put the replay in it, and never damage it, because this does not happen often.
And against mech too.
Yeah, it's like it's a first edition shiny.
Journey had a lot of things going against him in this game, and despite it all, he is winning. Being on top of Journey or ByuN's production, obviously Journey.
Oh, yeah,
not dealing so bad with the counterattack.
I mean, he got some good damage in. He killed a lot of SCVs, but at the end of the day, his production was compromised. He doesn't have a secret like flower of Vikings hiding in the corner of the map.
Yes, you know, a lot of SCVs. That's why the supplies aren't too bad, but the army supply is really bad.
Yeah, if ByuN actually had a ton of money, he could just throw in a bunch of barracks in the top left or something, but he doesn't, and that's one of the many problems right now, the lack of money. Liberator coming out, Vikings coming out. He's going to desperately try and break the air, and with that, try and break the tanks, but unlikely.
Can you imagine the relief for True right now?
True, I know. True right now is, I guarantee you, True has built a little shrine, and he's praying to that whatever god he's praying to, that ByuN loses this game. But you know, like, he's killing a lot of the tanks with these drops. Their friendly fire is very serious, forces pickups. This is the engagement with those Vikings, but it's not enough.
Well, part of Journey's supply is in, you know, medevacs and Vikings, but it's still like, it's a 70 army supply difference. It's too much to be like, well, the Vikings aren't really helping.
Slow burn, but burn them. But command center, why shoot the supply depot? What the
ByuN can't believe it. He's like, no, I always win.
It's ByuN-believable.
Oh my god, Journey!
This is great.
It's like the Forgotten Terran, the Forgotten Sun is coming back to us.
Right? Like, because this was like our first big Terran crush. The thing I like about this game for Journey, though, was not just that he beat ByuN, who is without question one of the best Terran players in Legacy right now. It's the fact that he lost so hard to Bunny the last time we cast him in a TvT. So this for me looks even better to see that victory. And also, if I'm going to be completely honest, I think this would not have been that fun of a finals if ByuN walked all over True. Now, maybe True walks over Journey, I don't know, but it's going to be a lot closer. And True, as second round of the game, says thanks. All right, so we are going to hop to